Hi, I'm Tamara Leigh, the editor of Blackout Magazine, and this is your Blackout Report. We have a whole lot to get through today, wins and losses, so let's go through all of them so you know exactly what's going on in your world. One state that's taken the L recently is the state of Ohio, whose House has recently passed the HB 249 bill, which is called the Indecent Exposure Modernization Act. Now, there is already indecent exposure rules and laws written into Ohio law. This, however, goes a step farther to basically criminalize and eliminate drag performances in the state. One representative went as far as calling people that perform drag perverts in front of the entire body during the discussions. Now, there are states that have laws restricting drag already, Montana and Tennessee. Both of those are unenforceable because they are being held up by federal court. North Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, and Florida also have laws limiting drag performances. However, those are also being contested in court, and Texas and Florida are currently unenforceable because of those federal court mandates. So, this could affect drag performers' income. It can also clearly affect culture. It could even have ramifications in terms of public use of bathrooms and locker rooms by trans people. We are watching it, and we will see what happens next as it moves to the Senate. A win in Maryland, or at least on its way to one. A bill, HB 649, is a protection bill for trans students that is working its way through the Maryland legislative system. It protects students from discrimination and protection for any program or activity, which is huge, and the language there is really significantly inclusive and all-encompassing in a way that most bills of this kind are not. It has passed the House, it's on its way to the Education Committee, and then we'll head to the Senate to likely be signed in by the Governor Wes Moore. Go Maryland. On a federal level, you may have seen that on Trans Day Visibility of all days, the Supreme Court rendered their decision on a Colorado law that banned conversion therapy for youth. Their decision, which was 8-1, the one dissenting voice, as always, was Ketanji Brown, says that it is unconstitutional to limit a Colorado pastor's right to perform conversion therapy despite it being heavily regarded across the board as being detrimental and dangerous to children that are forced to participate in it. 20 states and the District of Columbia have conversion therapy bans, and this ruling can make those all be in danger of being overturned. A win for the state of Georgia, who has managed to beat all 15 anti-LGBTQ bills that were up for legislation and to be passed. Equality Georgia has reported all 15 of them have been defeated. That legislation includes limits on gender-affirming care, banning LGBTQ-themed books, restricting puberty blockers, and more. It was a tough fight, they said, but they knocked down every single one. Go Georgia. And one of the scariest pieces of legislation that is floating right now lives in Tennessee. HB 754 has passed and will now head to the Senate as State Bill 676, and basically creates a watch list of people receiving gender-affirming care in the state of Tennessee. The bill would require gender clinics accepting funds from the state to perform gender transition procedures to also perform detransition procedures, requires insurance entities to provide coverage of gender transition procedures to also cover detransition procedures, requires certain gender clinics and insurance entities to report information regarding detransition procedures, medication being taken, surgery being had, and the names and information of the patients receiving such care. 2 state agencies. HB 754 would also require the state to produce a comprehensive annual statistical report with all the collected data to share with the heads of legislative and the legislative librarian. These are dangerous, dangerous waters to be wading in when thinking about creating lists of trans patients receiving care. It draws into question HIPAA protections as well as the safety and what happens to the information that's being received by the state about these patients. It also is always dangerous when one of these bills passes because it just opens the gateway for them to be passed in other states. Right now, the battle still continues and we'll head into the state Senate with heavy opposition, but Tennessee has been putting up and passing some incredibly harmful bills in recent years, and this is yet another one to watch carefully. This is a scary one. A win in the state of Kentucky. State Senator Jex Williams last minute introduced a bill to ban trans people from becoming teachers in the state of Kentucky. HB 759 needed to be voted for before the close of the week, and that failed. He could possibly still introduce it in the last 2 days of session, but there would be no time to work through the calendar or have further discussion to facilitate the vote. So that one is also dead in the water. Earlier this year, we reported on a legislative measure that required Kansas trans residents to turn in their license to have them turned back to licenses that reflected their genders at birth. Similar legislation is going through Mississippi and has passed the Senate and is waiting government signature to basically stop trans residents from being able to change their gender markers on their licenses. The bill is currently awaiting the governor's signature. Likely happen, making the bill go to effect in July of this year. In Kansas, nearly 1,800 people were affected by that change. We are waiting for numbers to see how many people in Mississippi that this would also affect. A star and the cheers of the week goes to Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers for vetoing five bills that were targeting LGBTQ plus folks in his state. They restricted transgender access to healthcare and team sport. Governor Evers knocked down each and every single one as he vowed to do. Thank you. I'm Tamara Leigh, and this has been your Blackout Report so far for the month of April 2026. Make sure you are hitting us up on all of our platforms so you know what's going on. This information comes in like a tsunami, so much, so fast. So we break it down for you so you know what's happening to you and your community, so you know what to pay attention to. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to Blackout Magazine, not just on social media, but right here. You will have a new issue coming to you every month with not only all of the concerning things that you need to be paying attention to, but all the amazing news, celebrities, culture, conversations, and the beautiful things about our community that we always need to hold on to. Joy is the biggest form of protest.